Well, welcome to the Arts Council website. This is your project 3 in your book, and I really think that you will enjoy it. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to be working with static images. We're going to be extracting assets from Photoshop files, and we're going to be controlling backgrounds with CSS. Now, one thing that's important to note is that if you do not have Adobe CSS full version, then you're not going to be able to actually do the Photoshop comps, but there's an alternative PDF file that you can use to physically do it. So not to worry about it, you'll see that in there. So right now we have included options for managing websites. It's going to have foreground images and support for surrounding text, background images, and so we're going to focus on that in this scenario. So basically, most of the time you're going to use JPEG and PNGs and maybe a little bit of GIF files. So we're going to be using the fourth one in SGV, which is well suited for web display, but it's really not all that common. You'll find that on pages 109 and 110. Here you're going to learn how to place an image. Remember, we talked about making sure that you keep all of your images in an image folder, and you'll be able to insert them by clicking and drag, by insert images. So you learn about the different ways of doing it. So one thing I want to note is don't double click on the image to insert it as you're actually going to attempt to open it up. So placing images, again, you'll notice that what it's going to do is create an image tag. It's going to fill in the width and the height for you. And one thing you definitely always want to do, especially on a commercial site, is put in an alt tag, which is a description of the actual image itself. Then we have, again, the properties here, which is the image map, and you can edit all of these things right inside of the application itself, or you can edit that within Dreamer. But you'll learn more about that in the chapter. Resizing is really very easy. However, one thing to understand is when you click and drag it to resize it through the handles, it does not actually change the size unless you physically commit to it. Be careful of that. What I normally do is resize in Photoshop and save it to the size I want. Because once you reduce the size and then you need to get a bigger size, you're going to lose some focus on it. So be very careful of that. Again, resampling in here, it's really just adds unnecessary data in the image that's scaled down to size. And what it'll do is going to reduce the file weight and, of course, also reduce the download time as well. So you'll learn about that as well. Photoshop assets, again, you need to have Adobe Photoshop before you can do that. So we'll talk about that in the book. The CS Designer panel, you're going to be spending a lot of time in it. They totally redid it from the old style, which really was very easy. And then this way was visible, actually a nightmare to use until you get used to it. Once you get used to it, it's very, very, very easy to use. That's where you're going to be creating all of your CSS code. Background images, remember, are not actually part of the page itself. It's part of the background. So if the page gets printed, it does not get printed unless the browser is told to do that. So again, you'll learn more about that. So background images don't normally scroll, so be very careful of how you use them. Again, format every individual element, and you're going to learn about the different types of CSS with the tags, with an ID, and with an actual class. You're going to learn how to connect to external CSS files. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed the project. Have a great day.